So Apex Legends Season 8 Chaos Theory Collection event, the patch notes and info went live today, and I wanted to make this video for people that I know who want to keep up to speed with the changes in Apex but don't really like digging through the patch notes. I'm going to kind of go through all this stuff and read through it and react to how I feel about these changes. So let's go. First up, Nintendo Switch launch on March 9th. Super exciting. If you own a Switch, you want to be able to play Apex on the go. Caustic Town Takeover. When life gives you lemons, you can count on Caustic to turn it into toxic lemonade. Breathe it in at the all-new Caustic Treatment. A new dominant mousetrap with lots of high-quality loot that beckons all legends who seek glorious cheese. Gross. So this is a total rework of water treatment on Kings Canyon. We have this huge new area in the middle and a bunch of these little areas on the outside. Where water treatment once stood, the new Caustic Treatment was constructed to prevent the crash site fuel spill from reaching the ocean. Or was it? Forever the scientist, Caustic has set out an experiment that requires test subjects to drain the toxic liquid from the center of the facility. On the dev stream, they said there will be 4 gold loot items locked inside of cages, and you have the ability to turn off the gas from 2 separate buttons on opposite sides inside the facility. When you press the button, the toxic gas goes away for a limited amount of time. So this will definitely lead to some interesting and intense hot drops where you have standoffs with other teams, like who's going to push the button first, who's going to get trapped inside when the gas turns back on, you know, what kind of risks are you willing to take. So it could be pretty fun. If you happen to notice the Mirage Voyage is missing, you can put the blame on Caustic. The polluted fumes from Caustic Treatment really killed the vibe. So Mirage set sail to take party elsewhere. I wonder if they're going to add it to Olympus. Wouldn't that be insane? No one spotted it yet, but that party boat tends to show up in an arena where you least expect it. Next up, Ring Fury Escalation Takeover. Ring Fury is a new Apex playlist takeover that follows regular Battle Royale rules, but each round, 1 or more Ring Flairs will appear on the map within the current ring. Ring Flairs are slowly expanding pockets of the ring within the arena. Maggie sure does know how to start a party. Maggie's in the lore. She's the friend of Fuse that ends up blowing his arm off with the grenade, if you remember from the Fuse trailer. From the story standpoint, Mad Maggie is the one responsible for the Ring Fury mode. She's actually taking over the Apex games as the announcer and taunting you as she sabotages the game with Ring Flairs. Ring Flairs are these little pockets of the ring that get dropped in the middle of the map and expand outwards in a variety of ways. The notion the devs had with Ring Fury was, what if you couldn't go exactly where you wanted to go on the map exactly when you wanted to? So it will mix things up a bit and make you think differently about your rotation and force squads out of cover and that sort of thing. Those who get caught in a ring flare will take damage equal to the damage dealt by the current round's ring. You'll be given a short warning on the map and minimap before the ring flare appears. Legends will call out if they are in direct danger or if there's one opening nearby. So how do you deal with the ring flares? Well, 2 ways. First, try not to get caught in them, silly. Failing that, you can drop a new item we're introducing called Heat Shields. Heat Shields. During the Ring Fury Escalation Takeover, all players will start with a Heat Shield in their inventory on drop. Throw down your Heat Shield to avoid damage from the ring flares, or from the ring itself. And remember, you can always find more. The loot pool for this event has been tuned to spread Heat Shields throughout the map. Heat Shields cast a protective dome, pouring the deadly effect of the ring over the barrier for a short time, enabling legends to loot, revive, and generally make some amazing plays outside of the ring. The using of healing items is sped up by 50%, and the speed of revives is increased by 25%. This bonus is only given by Heat Shields that have been activated by the ring. Heat Shields on standby in the safe zone are conserving energy and do not grant this bonus. Okay, so this means that you can use these Heat Shields anywhere outside of the ring. So if someone gets knocked, you could potentially use this to make plays outside of the ring, which is pretty cool. But watch out, the Heat Shield will slowly degrade in its power as it's damaged by the ring. The damage of the ring is reflected in the duration of the Heat Shield, so don't expect it to last very long in final rounds. The devs said they designed the Heat Shields to be a comeback mechanic for when you're down and out in the ring. It's designed to be more of an early to mid-game bounce back mechanic. They don't really want people throwing Heat Shields down in the final ring, so the Heat Shields themselves have HP and they don't last very long in the later ring damage ticks. After the Fury Escalation Takeover concludes, the Heat Shield will remain in the game as general ground loot. That's huge. That's gonna really change how things are played when you're running from the ring, someone gets knocked, or you wipe a squad outside of the ring and you want to loot their boxes. That's kind of bizarre. I don't know how I feel about that yet. survival slot. So there's a new inventory slot here. You'll notice that the heat shield doesn't take up any of your normal inventory slots. Instead, it resides in the brand new survival slot. The survival slot aims to eliminate the choice between normal loot and situational utilities like mobile respawn beacon or heat shield. That's awesome. Now you have a dedicated spot for the respawn beacon too. Now there's no reason not to carry one of these around. Like the heat shield, the survival slot itself will continue to be available in the game even after the Ring Fury escalation takeover ends. Like previous playlist takeovers, Ring Fury will replace regular duos and trios playlists for the 2-week duration of the collection event. Rank will not be affected. However, unlike previous takeovers, Ring Fury is an escalation takeover, which means that every few days during the event, we're going to turn some knobs to crank up the prevalence, timing, and size of Ring Flairs. By the end of the event, you can expect 5 different stages of escalation. Interesting. Good luck out there. Ooh, this is cool. No-fill matchmaking. The new way to play the game as a solo legend. So you can check or uncheck to fill teammates. This is awesome because it's going to get rid of those when you're playing with randoms and the person just hot drops on their own and dies and quits. I feel like it's going to kind of weed out those people that are just wanting to play on their own. And then the people that check to fill for a squad are people that actually want to play with a team. So this could increase the quality of life in general and also make it fun to do some solo stuff. Focus on completing certain daily and weekly challenges, warm up, drop hot, get into a lot of fights. This is honestly one of the biggest things I'm going to be doing. Is just practice on my own, because the firing range doesn't give you enough moving targets and things to really like warm up on. So just being able to drop in solo and drop straight into the hot zone, drop straight into, you know, all these squads and just do your best to survive. Plus, I mean, I'm sure we're gonna see some awesome plays clipped from a lot of people. Challenge yourself. Can you win a round of duos alone? How about trios? That's gonna be insane. Experience the latest lore teaser on your own. Interesting. We have some limitations in place for no-fill matchmaking because we don't want to greatly disrupt the experience or pacing of the game for other players. We only allow 6 potential no-fill players in any match, and the feature isn't available in ranked. That's smart because yeah, what if you had like a whole lobby of people that were just solos? Chaos Theory event and rewards track. Pretty cool. Looks like we have a couple charms, a Horizon skin, an Eva skin, and I think that's a Kraber skin. Awesome. Oh, here we go. Jibby skin, Loba skin, Pathfinder. Oh, that's kind of cool. Mastiff skin, nice. Spitfire skin, interesting. Ooh, ew, that Revenant skin's kind of weird. Oh, and then we have a new heirloom, Bangalore's pilot's knife. Pretty cool. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, here we go. Legend updates. This one's gonna break my heart a little bit. Caustic nerf. Nox gas grenade cooldown increased from 2.5 minutes to 3.5 minutes. So it gives a little incentive to carry maybe a ultimate accelerant. I wish that you could put an ultimate accelerant in the survivability slot. That would be cool, but I don't think they're allowing that. Nox gas damage is at a flat rate of 5 HP per tick instead of ramping up from 6 to 12. So that's a big nerf to his gas tanks. Dev note here is Caustic is brutally effective at slowing down engagements. The entirety of his kit revolves around gas with a large area of effect, slow, vision obstruction, and direct health damage. It's proven to be too oppressive in too many scenarios, especially considering teammates can play in gas relatively unimpaired. Significantly reducing gas damage without taking it away completely or having it affect armor instead seems to be a fair compromise that stays true to the character, while making him less oppressive on the receiving end. Yeah, I would rather have a nerf to the damage than have it like only affect armor or removing that completely. We'll be monitoring the data and gameplay closely, see if these changes hit Caustic's appeal or effectiveness too hard. So if it is too much of a nerf, it sounds like they may roll it back a little bit. But that could, I mean, people already kind of push through his gas sometimes to make kills. So now if it's nerfed a little bit more, his gas might kind of just be like, whatever type of scenario. I don't know. We'll have to see how that feels. Pathfinder, they removed the low profile. Low profile has been used as a balancing tool for both mobile and or small legends. Although Path is still mobile, his hitbox is large. While his overall win rate and encounter win rate is by no means low, it's hard to justify keeping low profile on a hitbox of his size. Gibraltar removed 15% faster heal item usage while in Dome of Protection. That's interesting. I mean, that was kind of like a nice perk of his dome. Horizon increased black hole cooldown from 2 minutes to 3 minutes, so a little bit of a nerf on her ultimate. Revenant's Silence now disables Mirage's Cloak Revive and Respawn, as well as Octane's Swift Mend. Watson now has a passive shield regen at 0.5 HP, half of Octane's current health regen. That's a cool buff. So she regenerates shield very slowly. Rampart. Explosives damage amped cover normally instead of inflicting 200 damage. Explosives damage Sheila normally instead of inflicting 150 damage. Dev note here, walls should be beefy and powerful once built. Before Rampart shipped, we were worried that her nests would be too oppressive, so we gave enemy players the option to quickly clear them out with grenades. This wasn't necessary as it turns out, so we're removing the increased damage from grenades against amped cover and Sheila. Weapon update. All gold AR and LMG default optics are updated to the 2x bruiser. Yes, so no more 1-2 scopes. Oh, here's the Mastiff nerf. Pellet damage decreased from 13 to 11, and the fire rate increased from 1 to 1.1. The goal of these changes are to place the weapon's identity between the fast-fire EVA 8 and the heavy-hitting Peacekeeper. The Mastiff has consistently been dominant in close-quarter combat, given its forgiving spread pattern and high damage spikes with each shot. This change reduces that high damage potential in order to limit the amount of 2 pumps players experience on the receiving end. The Wingman gets 1 bullet to every magazine. That's cool. Remember when the Wingman used to have like 12 bullets in the heavy mag or something insane like that? Hemlock increased hip fire spread. Dev note, the burst damage from the Hemlock's hip fire was feeling a little too consistent for an AR that should excel at medium range. This change mitigates the Hemlock's close quarter damage spikes that felt bad on the receiving end. Fair enough. Fair enough. Quality of life changes. Kings Canyon loot. We've done a pass on the loot to bring it up to quality across the map, while also maintaining a certain amount of loot after Mirage Voyage has flown away. The wooden shacks across the map should have a few more pieces each and generally be a little higher quality. Spotted Lake has been reduced to medium quality from high. Crash Site has redistributed the loot in the area slightly. The amount stays the same, but the higher quality loot should be in the ship. Caustic Treatment has more loot than Water Treatment, and it remains high quality. Locked weapon optic swapping. Oh my god, this one we have been wanting for so long. For guns with fully locked attachments like fully kitted gold weapons and most crate weapons, you can now remove the optic and replace it with a different sight. This does not apply to the Kraber though. Assists have been added to the in-game HUD next to kills. That's awesome. This was already present in ranked and has been added to unranked. Assists still don't contribute to XP. Assists and knocks have been added to your squad's banners and will show at the end of match. That's cool. Club names will now appear on the match summary and champion screen if all players are part of the same club. That's fun. Items no longer stick to crafting replicator when dropped on the replicator. Badge progress. For badges that have longer amounts of progress, hovering over the badge will show you more information. For example, if you're trying to get 50 wins as lifeline, you'll now see that you have 45 instead of somewhere between 15 and 50. That's awesome. So they got the tier progress there. Ping my death box. While respawning on a dropship, you can now ping your own death box to help locate it easier. That's cool. Gold backpack. Players being revived by a gold backpack will have a crackle of energy based on the tier of armor they wear while the revive is taking place. Oh, nice. They will also display the armor heal effect when the revive is finished. This should help players prioritize pushing a revive in progress. So you'll be able to see that someone's being revived and has a purple shield, and they're going to be getting like a buff from the gold backpack. That's very helpful. When scanning a beacon for Ring 6, you should now be able to see the location where Ring 6 finishes. Nice. Since the survival slot took its button on the controller, Inspect Weapon has been moved to the emote wheel by default. Well, that makes sense, but I like inspecting my weapon on the fly, you know what I mean? And that's pretty much it. This new mode and the heat shield is really going to kind of change things and how you play outside of the ring. We're just gonna have to see how that feels. That's a cool add. And the do not fill option is something we've been wanting for a long time. So I'm excited to have that to be able to warm up and practice and that sort of thing. All right, babies, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time on stream. Thank you for watching and enjoy the games.